I'm gonna do along with my other videos. I'm trying to do the Bible as well along with it as well. Right now, if you go to my playlists, I did Genesis, Exodus, and the rest of the books are right here. Books of the Bible right here. Okay, and I'm gonna talk about First Kings right now. That's what I'm on right now. That's what we're on. Um. Okay, so this is all about King Solomon. If you guys never heard of him, he's pretty famous. Um. So King Solomon came after David. He was his son. Um. It was a. It was a. So David was old, and then he told everyone, God told him that Solomon was gonna be king, and at first there was his brother Adonijah was trying to tell everybody he was gonna be king, but when David died, but no, so before David died, he went and anointed Solomon king really fast because this Adonijah was trying to take the throne, and at first Solomon did really good. Okay, I want to mention also Solomon wrote like also with David, along with David. He was very artistic, okay? He was like a musician as well. He wrote a lot of the Psalms that are later in the book of the Bible. He wrote Ecclesiastically, Proverbs. He was very artistic, okay? And it was it's inspiration for God. So he was doing really good at first. But the best thing, and I wanted to bring this up, when he finally became king, David died, and God asked him, "Okay, what do you want? Like, I'll give you like a gift. Okay, a gift since you're king now, as like a kind of a homecoming present or something." Um, he said, um, he asked God for a good heart, and that way God was really pleased with him. He was pleased with Solomon because he asked for discernment to know what was right. When he talked to God, he did not ask for riches or for the life of his enemies. When you're praying, you should always ask for discernment and wisdom. I don't like, God doesn't like when you treat him like Santa Claus. Okay, he's not gonna give you. Oh, God, can I find $1 million tomorrow? God, can I get winning lottery tickets? Because you don't need that stuff. That stuff will probably lead you to hell, and that's what that's why he doesn't listen to you. And you guys treat him like Santa Claus. Okay, he's not Santa Claus. He's not here to get revenge on your enemies. He doesn't want you to do any of that stuff. Okay, and so he was really happy with Solomon when he asked for that. So Solomon not only gave him discernment and a really good heart of a king, he also gave him riches, and he made like he didn't have any enemies for a long time. No one was fighting with them. They were just chilling, man. Solomon was just chilling in his palace, and everything was great, right? And for now, and then things got bad because guess what happened? And I wanted to bring up, but he had a woman problem just like David. Okay, those women. God always warns you about these. And in this book of the Bible, it talks about Jezebel. No joke. These Jezebel spirits are no joke. Um. Anyway, but I wanted before I get into that part. So right now, David's doing good. He asked God for discernment between good and evil, which is this is the first thing you should always ask when you're praying. Do not he's not Santa. Don't treat God like Santa Claus. Do and not ask him for a bunch of stuff. He's not even gonna be listening to you. Okay. I wanted to bring up this story. It was pretty good. So these, in a little story of how smart he was. It's kind of weird, but it was smart. So these two women were fighting over this baby. The first woman said this was my kid that she stole, and the other woman said no, this was my kid, and so they went to the king, and Solomon wasn't sure. He didn't know which one was telling the truth, so he did a test. He said, "All right, well, I'm gonna cut the baby in half, and you guys can just have half of each baby. You can have the top half, you can have the bottom half." And one of the women said, "Sure, okay." And the other woman said, "No." The real mom was like, "No, she can just have the baby. Don't hurt the baby." Obviously, by that, they proved that the woman who didn't want the baby to be cut in half was the real mom, right? Because it didn't matter that she wouldn't see her son anymore as long as he wasn't going to die. So that was just a little story. I thought it was pretty interesting. It's just an example of how smart he was, how wise he was, and uh, but he married Pharaoh's daughter, okay, and he had a bunch of concubines and wives, all right. He had a bunch of concubines and wives, and and uh and in the midst of all this, he was building the temple, the first temple. All right, this is called the. If you're reading the Bible or you're hearing people talk about the Bible, this is the first temple period. Okay, because this was Solomon's temple. He finally built the temple. David wasn't allowed to build it. Solomon built the temple. It lasted for about 400 years. Okay, this was not the same temple run. This was not the same temple as when Jesus was there, but it was the same location. All right. I'm gonna do a whole nother video on the temple because that's gonna be too long. But he made the first temple, all right, in Jerusalem, all right, a very holy site to this day. I'll make a whole nother video about that. So, but just like David, he had a really big problem with women, and these women dragged him down because they did not believe in God of Abraham. They were worshiping demons. They were worshiping false gods, and they drug him down. Okay, Satan had a plan for him, just like David. All right, so I'm gonna do the next. These are some of the entities that the Bible is mentioned in First Kings. This is Ashtoreth. I'm gonna have to do different videos on these guys because it's important. Ashtoreth, Milcom. I don't have a picture of Milcom. Milcom. There's very little information on Milcom. They just kind of associate him with Moloch. Moloch, of course, always Moloch. He's the big one. When you sacrifice your kids to him, it goes. You can you can sacrifice your kids to any of them, but they all have specific powers, and they get their powers from specific energies. When you sacrifice your kids, it goes to Moloch and Baal. It goes it goes everywhere, but it's just they all have a certain type of task, right? They all have a certain type of superpower, and this is how you tap into their superpower. Don't get me started on superheroes again because they're all demonic. Anyway, Ashtoreth. This is you guys literally like spring break when you celebrate spring break and like Mardi Gras and all that stuff. It's the same ceremony they did for her. It's the same exact one. Like the same one. Like when they like literally Satan has us celebrating these same demons. And we just say, oh, it's just a party. No, it's not just a party. It's an old traditional sacrificial ceremonial thing. When you do that, when you guys go out and party for spring break and go to Mardi Gras, it's literally demonic energy. It's a practice that's been they were doing since the beginning of time. It's not new, okay? It's the same. Keep getting tricked by the same demons. Like I'm not even kidding. Baal is a big one. I'm gonna do a whole other video of Baal. A personal experience with Baal, okay? Another time. I'll talk about that another time. I'm not in the mood right now. Ugh. Anyway, Baal is real, you guys. It's a real demon. I'm not kidding. It's not. People, like, some Christians think that these fake gods were just fake gods. Like, they didn't exist. And there was just God. And these guys were wasting their time worshiping nothing. No. There's no. When you pray to something, it always goes somewhere. Okay? Even if you make up a fake god, a demon's gonna be right there. There's no such thing as wasted prayer. It's either going to God and Jesus or to all these other demons. Okay, there's no such thing as wasted energy. Energy always goes somewhere. And if it's not to God and Jesus, it automatically goes to one of these demons. And they'll be right there sucking it up too. Anyway, there's no such thing as wasted energy. Energy never dies, right? A little bit sciencey, right? Energy just keeps changing form. When you pray, it's going to one of these things. Okay, it doesn't just float off into the middle and float off into the universe and go nowhere. No, it does go into the universe. It's energy transference. Okay. I'll have to do whole story. I have a whole story on Baal, but I'm not in the mood right now to talk about that because it's scary. Um. And Solomon literally got dragged by all these women because he married Pharaoh's wife, and it's so funny because all these demons, they just keep changing their name, but they're the same person. Like Aphrodite is the same person as this asterisk. It's just the Greek terminology for it. It's the same demon. The demon devil just keeps changing their names, but they're the same demons. Okay? Um just like with the Luca Amalekite thing. It's just they keep changing names, but it's the same demon, okay? Just like the bloodline changing names things. It's the same thing. And I do have to know this stuff. You guys just need Jesus because this stuff is real. Just the only name you need to know is Jesus, because he's the only one that can help you. You can't even figure out what is what anymore because we're just worshiping demons all the time. No joke. Um, you need to read the King James Bible, and you need to study the Bible and pray to Jesus. That's all you can do to fight these things off. You're not gonna figure it out. Trust me, I tried. Jesus is the only one that you need to fight these things off. Learning about them is only a little piece of that, okay? I'm just trying to tell you these things are real. Um, okay, so Solomon got tricked into worshiping all these demons, just like in the book of Judges. When you surround yourself with bad people, they are gonna drag you down. You're not gonna drag them up. They're gonna drag you down, right? This is why God says not to hang around and get marry bad people, because they're gonna drag you down. You're not gonna drag them up. That doesn't happen. It's hard to drag people up. You kidding me? Try to talk to people about Jesus now. No way. They're gonna If you hang around with a bunch of bad people, they're gonna drag you down, most likely. That's the whole point of that. Again and again, the Bible keeps talking about that too. Don't be hanging around with a bunch of bad people. They're gonna drag you down. Just like this, he had everything. Now Solomon lost everything. Watch. So see what happens. He starts worshiping these gods because his girlfriends keep telling him to do it. Right? So now watch. Okay, so Solomon's been worshiping those demonic entities, and of course everything falls apart big time after that. His bloodline gets cursed, just like David's, right? Um, So, first of all, and when Solomon was alive, all these surrounding people started attacking them again. All the Philistines and the children of Ammon, Moab, they started attacking them again, probably because they were worshiping those same gods. But anyway, let's all get together then, let's all fight. So God left and the demons came. Basically, when God leaves, they come in. They come rushing in. And that's exactly the point. They all started surrounding them again. They wanted to spend their time worshiping other gods, so God left. He left a little bit. When God really leaves, you're in hell. Okay, but he left a little bit. And the demons, they just want that little crack in that door, and they'll come right in. No joke. So Solomon dies. There's this big fighting. There's all this fighting. There's Rehoboam. He becomes the king, which is Solomon's son. He's super evil. Super evil. He basically, so the Israelites come to him and they're like, because Solomon's like, he's really hard on them and building about this temple, right? They're building this temple, and they're obsessed with building the temple, and Solomon's pretty hard on them, and he really wants the temple built. But so they come to him, this new king, Rehoboam, Solomon's son, and they ask if they can lighten their load because they're just like dying out there. Nope. Rehoboam says, not only am I not going to lighten your load, I'm going to make it heavier. He says, not only will you be scourged with whips, you'll be scourged with scorpions, meaning that he's going to make them work harder. And what happens? The Israelites revolt. Literally, they're back where they started from, you guys. They're back where they started from. Literally, this is like Pharaoh and the Israelites enslaved all over again. They literally went backwards because they started building up those idols. They started worshiping those demons. They are literally back where they started from. They're slaves to an evil king. And so Israel and Judah broke apart. The Israelites are not all. David worked so hard to bring them back together because in the book of Judges they're all fighting with each other, and they broke up again. It's worse than ever before now. So so Rehoboam and Jeroboam are they're two different kings of two different Israelites. This is why there's Jews now, this is why there's Judea, right? The Jewish religion now, and this is why there's Israel now, Muslim, right? Because we all we all believe in the same Old Testament, but they split up. Okay, they're still fighting today. Okay, it's not like, I know you think this has nothing to do with you. I'm trying to get to a point with this. Jesus doesn't want you fighting. God doesn't want you fighting over things. These guys today, these guys are still fighting over the Temple Mount, the Holy Land. Okay, Jesus said the Holy Land is in you. Okay, you have the temple of God in you. Okay, God doesn't want you guys fighting over a building. They're still fighting over the building today. They're still fighting over the Temple Mount. I'm going to get into that with Solomon's Temple, but it's ridiculous. Like, no, you guys. I'm not here to make fun of Jews and Muslims, but I'm telling you guys, really need to consider what Jesus is teaching. Because the devil wants you guys fighting with each other. He's getting what he wants. And Jews don't even believe in the devil. No, you guys, he's real. He's real, and he's tricking you guys. He's really tricking you guys to fight over a stupid building, over a stupid rock. Anyway, I'm gonna get into that another time. There's all kinds of interesting stuff with that Temple Mount. I'm gonna make a whole nother video about it because that stuff is crazy. That stuff is like the Book of Revelation stuff, and this is why I'm trying to bring this up. So Israel and Muslim. I want you to think Muslims and Jews. They're fighting now, just like today, okay? And they kept fighting in the Book of Kings. They kept fighting. And all these kings came, and all these Israel, for the king of Judah, the king of Israel, they're both bad, okay? None of them were good. There was 2 kings in Judah that were good. The rest of 20 of them were bad. All of the Israelite kings were bad, okay? So they're fighting. All right, so all because they started worshiping, and they're both worshiping false gods. They're both worshiping those demons. And even one of the king of the Judah, they started. He basically said, anyway, you know how God was so strict about the Levites being the priests. Like the king of Judah said, you know what? Nah. Rehoboam said that. You know what? Nah, I think anyone could be a Jeroboam. Is it Rehoboam or Jeroboam? Anyway, they said that, you know what, I think anyone could be a priest. They started changing the rules. Okay, it was Jeroboam. He's like, not only because God was so strict about the Levites just holding the Grail, the Ark of the Covenant and all this stuff. Jeroboam was like, nope. The lowest of the lows became the priests, like the really low people, like the crackheads were becoming priests. Jeroboam said it was okay. Okay, like, and God's just like, what are you guys doing, you guys? And it's pure chaos. Okay, and this is leading up to the fall of Babylon, you guys. That's in the next book, but pretty much the Babylonians come and just beat up everyone and kick them all out, right? No, everyone loses. When you worship the devil, everyone loses. No one gets what they want. Really, that's the message here. Yeah, that the devil's real, guys. When you do stuff like that and bad things, when you get depressed and stuff like that, that's demonic energy. Like, people are, depression is up and all this stuff. Depression, suicide is up because it's coming from the demonic realm, because we keep doing stuff like this. It goes over everyone. Like, I know you think abortion and stuff has nothing to do with you. No, that's power that's being spread over everyone. Okay? When you have a bunch of weird sex outside of marriage, that's power, and it's coming back to you negatively, right? When you get depressed and stuff like that, that's what that is. Really, really, really. When you do drugs, and yes, of course you do, but it's demonic. They're feeding back your energy, but it's turned upside down, right? So basically, there's all these kings now, and they're fighting, and everything's a mess. And I'm gonna get into the end of Kings is the prophet Elijah comes. Elijah with a J. Okay. And he's really important, so because they mentioned him, Jesus met him, Elijah. He came down and met him with Moses. Okay. This is the Elijah that Jesus met. Okay. Um and all right, and there's also debate whether or not Elijah comes back at the in Revelations, the end of the world. Okay, which is going to happen, you guys. It is totally going to happen. I know you guys think this is fantasy stuff, but no, no, this stuff is real and it is going to happen. All right, so I'm gonna bring up Elijah and Ahab and Jezebel. They come into the story. Um, so Jezebel was an evil woman. She was all about Baal worship. She convinced the king of Israel to. They got married, right? And they're both worshiping Baal. She said they'd set up a whole temple for Baal. These kings, these new Israel kings, they made Saul look like innocent, right? Anyway, they're just flat out worshiping the devil now. Okay. Um, and if you go back in the book of Samuel, Samuel warned them. He warned the Israelites that this was going to happen. He said these kings are just gonna. They're not gonna be what they remember. If you go back to my videos, Samuel warned all of them that these kings were just gonna end up being rotten. They're gonna end up hurting you guys, and he was right. And so I'm gonna have to do again. I'm gonna do a whole other video on Baal. Okay. Um, So then Elijah enters the picture, okay? So God sends his prophet Elijah and he tells Jezebel and Ahab that there's going to be a drought and because Baal was like he was like the Baal worship is disgusting. It's like with the other demon what was her name? That one I just mentioned. Anyway, but they're all about weird sex magic, okay? And but Baal was also he's also seen with holding like a rod, a lightning rod. He controls the weather. So when the God said, "Well, these guys are worshiping Baal now, so I'm gonna give them a drought because Baal's supposed to bring good weather." So as their punishment, he sent a drought for a long time. But he gave Elijah was always being fed. Okay, there was always like a miraculous way he was always being fed, and he always had water and something to eat. Like even the ravens brought him water and food. And then he even went to a widow's house, and there like they're all everyone was starving to death because that was their punishment. They wanted to worship Baal, and Elijah went to go live with this woman and her son. Okay, for what, for like 3 years, and they survived on one bowl of cornmeal and oil. Like it just kept replenishing itself. And then when the son died, Elijah brought the son back to life. He died. He got sick and died. And Elijah later said a prayer over him and asked God to bring him back to life, and he did. So Elijah brought a boy back from the dead, and then um and then he went to these priests. These priests they were having kind of like a battle. Okay, Elijah was like he went to these priests, these Baal priests. There was 800 of them. Jezebel and Ahab had 800 Baal black magic priests. Okay, I'm not kidding. They were they were just evil. Like, and this guy was supposed to be the king of the Israelites. Like, that's how bad it was. And and so they set up two altars. So the Baal priests, okay, they set up an altar. Elijah was like, okay, set up your altar. Let's see what happens, and we're gonna see which one of our gods is gonna set this on fire. So these Baal priests, they started dancing around their altar. They're cutting themselves because that's part of their rituals, I guess. So they're cutting themselves, and there was no rain, nothing. And it's so funny because if you read it, Elijah even mocks them. He's like, he's like, maybe he's asleep. Maybe your ball is in the like. Maybe he's busy. Maybe he's pursuing someone. Maybe he's in the like it even says when it says pursuing. I think it says is maybe he's even in the bathroom. He's like mocking them because nothing's happening. Their God has left the building, right? And he's making fun of them. And then it's his turn to see if he can get his altar going. Okay, so he even says, "You know what? Okay, it's my turn." And then he even dumped water all over it. He made a big pit, and he even dumped water all over it. And when God came and burnt the offering, it burned all the water up and everything too. And all these priests started freaking out because they realized that was the true God, right? And they all died. All of them died. Okay, they were all killed. Um, and Jezebel got really mad, and she says, I'm gonna kill all your prophets." And she did. She killed all the God's prophets that were left. And then she also killed, because they were hiding in caves and stuff, because she was out to kill them. I'm gonna talk about this Jezebel spirit later. Okay, so that's a whole nother video. Um, and so was the Baal. They, um, I have a personal story of Baal. Anyway, so so Samuel went in hiding again. He got really depressed because like he was convinced this Jezebel was gonna kill him. Okay. She said she was gonna kill him, and he got really depressed, and he went inside a cave, and he's basically just like, I want to die. And like he's like scared, and all the other prophets are dead. He's depressed, and then God says, "What are you doing here, Elijah? Get up." And there's meaning in that, right? What are you doing here? It's not you. Sometimes you just have to get up and do your job. You don't have time to sulk in a corner somewhere. And so he did. He got up. Elijah got up, and he told Jezebel, um, you're gonna be killed, and you're gonna be eaten. You're gonna be eaten by dogs by the wall. And sure enough, she believed him. I think she believed him. She was just like whatever. She got all dolled up. It says she got put on her makeup and everything. So when the men came to go kill her, the new king brought the new men. Okay, the other they're gonna be overthrown, and they killed her, and they threw her down from the balcony, I guess you could say, and threw out the window. She fell. Okay, and sure enough, by the wall, where the balcony was, she was eaten by dogs. Okay, and just like Elijah said that she would be, and so she had a really bad death, obviously. And I'm gonna make a whole nother video about Jezebel. All right, and then the next book is the Book of Kings, the second Book of Kings, and we're gonna talk about Elijah again.